Hello friends, how are you? I am fine and I hope you are also fine. Today we can talk about periodization of history, sources of studying modern history, literary sources, official records, indigenous literary sources, other sources. Periodization of history. History spans thousands of years from Earth's origin to the present day. To make it easier to understand and record, historians divide the vast timeline into segments, much like chapters in a book. Different regions used various timelines. For example, the modern period begins for the 15th century in Europe, while in India it starts in the 18th century with the decline of Mughals and the arrival of European powers. The traditionally history is divided into three stages: ancient, medieval, and modern. These periods do not have strict start or end dates but transition gradually. Each period is characterized by unique development in technology, culture, religion, society, and politics. Some historians further subdivide these periods, like referring to India's early modern history as colonial period, highlighting the impact of foreign rule on the country. Sources of studying modern history. Large amount of source material for constructing the modern history of India is available. There is plenty of information available the political, socio-economic and cultural development of the country. Literary sources. Literary sources provide the most valuable information on how things happened in the past. Accounts in the form of official records, travelers' notes, manuscripts, newspapers, clippings provide plenty of insight to this period of our history. As a result of source multiplicity, there is the inevitable possible of bias and diverse perspectives, such as is more so in the case of history is of a country with colonial past like ours. Keeping the above in mind, some historians have chosen to further classify the literary sources as official in nature or indigenous in origin. Official records. Top priority among literary sources is given to the official records, which are government documents of various types of levels. The British felt that all the important documents and letters needed to be carefully preserved, and therefore they set up record rooms with all administrative institutions, starting from the Tehsildar office up to the provincial secretaries. Specialized institutions like archives and museums were established to preserve important records. These records made by the East India Company give an elaborate accounts of trading and economic conditions during this period. The official record cover all levels of administration, from the district to the supreme government. The British carried out number of surveys on topography, flora and fauna, local histories, forests, archaeology, etc. They even conducted census operation to understand the demographic patterns. The record of Portuguese, Dutch and French companies, who also had small colonies in different parts of India, are also useful in reconstructing the history of the 17th and 18th centuries. By reading this material, one can trace the development in a chronological manner. Indigenous literary sources. There were large number of Indian scholars, authors, historians who wrote about the events as they unfolded the era. Plethora of source material can also be obtained from newspapers, magazines, chronicles, letters, books, pamphlets, photographs, autobiographies, text of speeches of those times. In the latter stages, with the advent of the cinematography of some audiovisual visual resources also became available as records. There are many contemporary or semi-contemporary works such as memoirs, biographies, traveler accounts, which gave us interesting and useful glimpses into the history of 18th and the early 19th century. Other sources. A large number of historical buildings and structures continue to exist, which are also a strong evidence of how things happened in this period. It is well known that Delhi has always been the center of power. It has seen the shift of power from the Mughals to the British and then to the independent India. The transformation of Delhi from a compact city with narrow lanes and small houses to a new city with huge buildings like Rashtrapati Bhavan and the Secretariat, the Parliament marks a significant change. This period also saw the rise of large monuments like India Gate, trade and commercial centers like Connaught Place, and wide roads reflecting the city's evolution over time. It is nearly a living example of the shift of powers from the Red Fort to Razina Hill or the Governor General's office, and then a similar transfer of power from the British to the people of independent India. Similarly, the growth of the Kalikatta village into Calcutta with huge buildings like Victoria Memorial, Fort William are also sources of information on the lifestyle and the changes brought about by the British. The bridge over the river Hooghly, the famous trams of Calcutta, and the advent of railways in India as whole are testimony to the rapid developments driven by technology which came in during those years. There are many sources of information which help us study our past, but whatever was written could also have been biased and subjective assessments of a particular person. Therefore, one has to be careful to take a holistic and the balanced view of how things happened in the past. For example, the documents prepared by the colonial masters may have served their purpose. Rather than provide accounts of what actually happened, the pictures and their interpretations have also got to be studied in detail and compared with other artifacts and relics from the past to gain a complete understanding of history. To know more about history, please subscribe my channel and share my videos. Thanks and have a nice day.